Here we go. All right. Looks like it is about to stream over into the group. Fantastic. All right. Let me shut down that because I don't need that to be going up. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I can see people are coming in now. So I would love if you can just say hi in the chat. Let me know. I'm just so curious how everybody's experience was of the meditation yesterday. So I know I got notes from 3 people that were like, I think I fell asleep. Oh, hi, Liz. Hi. Thanks for saying hi. I got notes from 3 people who were like, I think I fell asleep or I almost fell asleep. That's totally okay. Little secret. Something about my voice does sometimes put people to sleep. My father-in-law often falls asleep talking to me, which I would take as an offense, except he's the sweetest person. So it's all good. So yes, especially when I do meditations, I can kind of knock people out. But that said, even if you fall asleep listening to it, that's completely fine. Your subconscious is going to go ahead and keep doing that work for you. And you'll wake up remembering things that hopefully will be really helpful as you align with your dream life. So let me know if you had a good experience with that, maybe what animals you saw. Post those in the group too. I love looking up the spiritual meaning of animals. I'm a believer that, we have encounters that are not, sunbirds from Alan. Oh yeah. Thank you. Sunbirds. I'm boring. I saw a deer. No, deer is not boring, Liz. No, deer. I'm going to show you. Actually, there's a set of cards that I absolutely love. It's the Spirit Animal by Colette Baron Reed. Anyway, she has the most lovely, it's just lovely descriptions of different doe-eyed deer. Oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh, I have had some real experiences with deers. And deer I will post in the group for anybody who posts in the group with what they saw. I will go ahead and post in the group with the general spiritual meaning of each one. Let me see. I'm flipping here. I keep going from crow. There's deer. Bring a gentle, hi Rachel, bring a gentle touch. It says the time, Liz, this is for deer. The time has come to be gentle and diplomatic when dealing with others. Be mindful of the words you choose, but do not worry. Dear Spirit reminds you that you have the ability to be sure-footed and confident while showing humility and respect for others. And it goes on. So for anybody who, got an animal symbol or any of those things, I will happily post in the group what at least some of the spiritual meaning might be. You can always Google it and just see. I find that it tends to be very spot on for people in the moments in time. So just trust whatever animal that you've got. And I see Rachel just wrote as well. Yeah, I know. I never feel it. Yeah. So yes. So it is hard sometimes to totally sink in when you're in class. So we are pulling the audio of that and I'll put some music under it. That should be up really this morning. It's morning time, my time. This morning sometime you'll be able to download it and use it. And then there's a few more bonuses today that I think are going to be really helpful for people. So thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and talk about what are we sort of laying down in day 2. So I want to help you this morning to create a morning practice for yourself that aligns you with your dream life. Now, it has to be a very individual process. I have seen people that, they teach this morning ritual stuff and it's like, you have to get up and at this time and do this and do this and do this. And it's got to be like exact. I do not believe that at all. One, I think that creates a lot of stress. I think it feeds into, for anybody who has any hints of perfectionism, it feeds into perfectionism so that if you don't do something exactly right, then, kind of screw it all. It's all for naught. And that's not the case. As you'll find as we move through this work, one of the things that is absolutely true from a sort of reprogramming your neural pathways way is that basically every time you essentially take an action, you are shifting the frequency of your mind. You are creating new neural pathways. Now, to make those neural pathways really strong, that action has to be taken sort of again and again and again. And if you can add emotion into it, that's why we talked about emotions yesterday, then that's going to kind of like supercharge that process. So you can think about it almost like if you had just a tiny stream of water, and it's rolling over a rock, let's say a large rock. It just keeps going. And at first it just kind of goes everywhere. And then eventually it starts to create a lip little bit of a route in there. And then eventually it becomes, a groove. Okay. That is a similar thing to what we're going to be. In fact, the entirety of what we're going to be doing is about taking those powerful actions again and again that are perfectly aligned to you, that create that groove and creates that those new neural pathways that start to send out very different frequencies for you and start tuning in and pulling in things that are aligned with you, aligned with your dream life. Because of that, any action you take, right, is adding to the groove. So if you don't do it every single day, or if you do it slightly different one day, or if you forget one part of it one day, and you do it 10 other days, that's still 10 days of building that, right? So what I want to say is, oh, wow, a white dove, I kid you not, you guys, I have never seen this. A white dove just flew above. I have a tall, skinny house, and my office is on the 4th floor. So it's kind of weird, like it's kind of rare to have, and a white dove just flew up. I was just speaking of spirit guides and animals. We will look that up. A white dove just flew straight up to the top, right in front of my window. I've never seen that before. Just flew off again. There it goes. Okay. Sorry, that was just shocking. So what I want to emphasize is being gentle with yourself. There's nothing about this that should be rigid. I want to emphasize that everything that you develop here, that we develop together, needs to be aligned to you perfectly. So it's about your truth. It's about how you perceive things. It's about you. It is a beautiful sign from spirit. That was crazy. It's about how you bring things into the world. It's about how you want to receive. Okay. All of those things are very individual to you. So I want to emphasize a lot of gentleness and a lot of just trusting yourself as we build this out. Okay. So what's a morning ritual look like? The first thing that I like to emphasize for people to do is to create some sort of sacred space for yourself. You can call it anything you want. Sometimes people call it an altar. Some people call it, a sacred space, manifestation, mantle. I don't care. My place. I don't, whatever you want to call it. Fine with me. For me, I create that's actually what's behind me. So that's my little sacred space in the morning. I chose to create it in my office because, I do a lot of my one-on-one work. Well, really all my work really from here for the most part, unless I'm out speaking or something. And so this is a place where I want to set that beautiful energy right away. Okay. So one of the things you're going to do when you create this out is you're going to find things that are meaningful for you and that are going to make you feel uplifted and inspired. So that set of emotions that you felt yesterday. Okay. So please raise a hand. Hopefully everybody wrote down their set of emotions from yesterday, so that you have your set of emotions, or at least you can call them up. And those are the emotions I want to really have in anything that you select to put onto your sacred space, your altar, your place. It does not have to be, I happen to have a big back wall, but it doesn't have to be that. I've had people that are working with me in various courses or various things, and maybe they only have a tiny little space. One client is in New York City, and they have like postage stamps apartments, so she can't have a whole wall. So she's created just a nice little corner space for herself. Okay, so it's whatever is going to be great and comfortable and work within your setting, and it doesn't have to be fancy. This is about meaningful things for you that when you sit down, you're going to feel aligned, uplifted, all of the emotions you want to feel. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I guess I have back there, just to kind of maybe tell you, and inspire you. So behind me, you'll see I have something. Oh, that's my incense. I thought something was burning. So I have incense. So my incense I chose for today because I really wanted to call up a memory of my grandma, who I love, Grandma Virginia Rose. And so I chose rose incense. So again, these things can be personalized every day. There's also that lantern you can see. It's got a candle inside it. And that I have that there because since I was a young child, whenever I would meditate, I was very aware of some sort of spirit guide guy, call him an angel, call him a spirit guides. I don't, whatever you want to call it, that had this lantern, and you would always have this lantern of shining like light on me. So for me, that is kind of like honoring him, putting that lantern there. Then over there, you'll see the statue is actually my Kuan Yin, which was from my grandma Virginia Rose, but it was actually my grandpa brought it back from, I think the Korean War. And of course, the Kuan Yin is compassion for humanity and kindness for all. And she's also known actually as she has like the 27 Taras in Hindu. So it's the Kuan Yin is actually the same as that. So it just speaks to me, and it reminds me of sending out compassion and love in all that I do, and that I try to align and uplift people in all that I do. Okay. And so like there's crystal. Oh, there's cards from my husband and my daughter. So those are really important. Like put personal things there. And you can even put images or pictures of things that you want to bring into your life. So over there, I do have written down some of my personal goals for the next little bit. And I put those on there with a couple of crystals that I just like, that I resonate with. I love rose quartz, so I'll put that over there. So those are kind of the things that I do. So, however, again, as you can see, sometimes these things are just, personal things that for whatever reason feel aligned. Oh, and on the floor, some of you might know if you followed me for a bit. So I've been doing Taekwondo and I compete. So that's actually I've won some medals. And so those are my medals over there, which aren't really actually part of my altar, but they're over there on the floor. So that's where they're at. Okay. So, but again, it needs to be like the personal things for you. Okay. So that's the first thing. Look around your house, think about things that are going to remind you of whatever it is that you want to bring in, of those emotions that you want to have. So when I sit down at that altar, I'm immediately aligned with love, with feeling the love of people that I have always adored, with the idea of compassion and doing good for humanity, those things that are going to inspire me and lift me up and keep me going. Because we all have good days and bad days. This is really about setting that emotional and energetic intention right away. Okay. The next thing you want to do is using this sacred space, you're going to create a little bit of some sort of ritual for yourself that aligns you again with that feeling of the dream life. So if there's a time in your life that you can think of, and let's just take that for a moment. If there's a time in your life you can think of that might have been a moment when you felt most aligned with your life purpose, or you felt most excited and joyful and whole and like everything was coming together for you. If there's a moment like that, let me know. Put it in the chat. If there's something you can think of that, and I can actually probably help you create your own little morning ritual. As you're thinking about that, so the way that I created my morning ritual was I remembered there was a time where my husband and I were in Paris, France. It was actually after I had a book tour over in Romania, which was amazing. Romanian people are amazing. And we stopped in Paris on the way back, and we'd never been to Paris. And we were in this cafe. And one of the things about the Parisian, and I think probably the French in general, is that they make everything really intentional. So even going up in for like a cup of coffee at a cafe, it's like this beautiful experience. I really do not think you could probably stumble into any cafe where it's not just this very mindful experience that's elevated coffee. Okay. And so I remember being in that cafe with my husband and feeling so good that I had been able to share my work overseas, and that I just felt so aligned and alive and on purpose. And so I still remember them coming in, and they pour the coffee and they have the little beautiful sugar cubes and, the cream. And so the way I created my morning ritual is that, and it's going to sound kind of funny, but it really does work for me. I make my coffee in the morning, my little French coffee, which I do love coffee. And then I got a tiny little espresso cup, and I offer that to my angels and spirit guides, or to my, whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever tradition you come from, or however you would call the people you feel that look over you. Okay. Whether it's God, whether it's source, it doesn't matter. Okay. So for me, I just feel that it's like spirit guides and angels. So I put a little espresso out, and I mindfully kind of make a coffee for both of us. And it's like me sharing it with them. Like I'm calling them in saying, okay, I'm now going to meditate, do my morning practice. And I invite, that inspiration, basically. And I'm grateful for you being here. So that's what I do. It does help me to make it very real in a day-to-day moment. So for you, it can be all kinds of different things. So one woman who's in actually the practitioner certification right now, she loves to sing and dance. So for her, hers is she has a certain song that she loves and it just really uplifts her. She puts that on in the morning and she dances and sings and invites inspiration for her. Okay. So that's one for somebody that's a very dance oriented person. Other people, it could be a whole bunch of other stuff. It can be anything you want. Okay. So that's the start of the morning ritual. Once you intentionally and you kind of create that space for yourself, at that point, one of the things that I suggest is to read something that inspires you. It can be anything, doesn't matter to me. Whatever is inspirational for you, try to read even 5 minutes. Just all it is about uplifting your energy level, uplifting your emotional level so that you are setting your intention really high before the day. Because I don't know about you, but if I just let the day sort of come and everything starts to come at me, I'm definitely not necessarily at my highest energy level. I'm having a lot more just jittery or stressed moments. But when I take that moment to kind of align myself with something inspiring, boom, now I'm in that mindset that like, okay, and it's also about taking that time for yourself, like honoring yourself that, everything else can wait for a second. This is really important work for you and you deserve that work. So it's a lot of self-care as well. The next thing that you do, so maybe 5 minutes of reading that when you feel kind of aligned, I personally love to pick up a book and I'll just like open it to any page. I'll just decide that whatever page I'm supposed to read that day is the page I'm supposed to read. And I just open it up and read it. And that's my inspiration for the morning. The next thing I do, and this is about 5 minutes, maybe, is sit down and do something I call future journaling. Now, you can do this on just the day, for 6 months out, a year out, whatever you want to do. So a lot of times I do it for the day. And what I do is, everybody knows about journaling or keeping a diary, where maybe you review your day. How was your day? What did you learn? What went well? What didn't go well? What are you grateful for? All of that is great. Totally recommend doing that as well. However, future journaling is different. Future journaling is claiming the life or the day or whatever it is that you desire as if it is real in this moment now. So we're going to talk next week a lot about the science of manifestation, the science of how life comes into being, and how that combines with spirituality, what that crossover is. But the basic thing to know is that science has really shown that we are all, even if we experience ourselves or anything in front of us as physical, that it's actually both physical and energy at the same time, solid and energy at the same time. And because of that, and that really the reality that we see is the reality that's popping into being because of our own individual perceptions. And so the reality, the real reality that we just don't see, is that actually at all times, we are all connected as energy, all of us. So that also means you are connected right this very minute. Anything you dream of, anything you desire, you're actually connected to it. Like it exists in the universe. It exists in energy right now, and you are connected to that energy. So the idea of future journaling is simply to say, I'm now setting my intention and I know I'm connected to this. So I'm now going to write this out that this is what is happening today, or this is what by 6 months, this is exactly what's happening. And you write it as if you're writing it in the present moment. Today I will have 4 people contact me that need help with healing, and I will be able to serve them at the highest level. Today, I will encounter 5 people in my day that will help lead me on a path to finding my life purpose. So whatever that is, you state it in the present moment. I have taught this multiple times. I have personally had insanely powerful results from just this simple practice. And I'll see if I can actually show it to you. But so if you've been following me a little bit, or you follow me like on Instagram, you would see that I have a little daughter who's now 6. She'll be 7 next week. And she's so cute. And she happens to be adopted. And we went through a very long process of adoption. I'd always known in my heart I wanted to adopt, and we set out thinking it was going to be, rainbows and unicorns, because we figured it would be really easy. Well, it ended up being a little bit more of a journey than that. It all came together for a lot of really good ways, and she's the perfect child for us. However, we had gone through several like failed adoptions, disrupted adoptions, I guess they call it. Feels like a failure, but disrupted. And I was honestly starting to get to the point of like, okay, universe, help me out here. Like, I know I'm supposed to do this. What in the world? And so finally, one day, it was August 9th. I sat down and I one of the things I wrote on that day was, today we will get some sort of amazing news on the adoption, something like our child is here, our child is ready. So at that point, we were open to just, a child being born, and they needed to be placed. So I kid you not. So that did not happen that exact day. The next morning, we got the call that was for our daughter. And she had been, actually, take it back. This was wrong. I wrote that on her actual birthday, not knowing she had been born that day. That's what it was. I wrote it on her birthday, not knowing she'd been born that day. And we got the call the next morning. So just as I wrote that, it was like I was aligned, everything aligned. And the next day we got the call for our beautiful little daughter. And like 4 hours later, we were instant parents, but it took a while. So all I can tell you is that this is a powerful, powerful practice to be able to really state, this is what's happening. And I'm going to, I know I'm connected to this. I know I can do this. Now, it's important as you do that future journaling practice to really allow yourself to call up those emotions that we talked about and connected with yesterday. So one of the things I do recommend then, after you do your future journaling, so you write this out, you say, this is what's happening. And it can be like, next week, this is exactly what happens. On this day, I have this much money and I'm here and here and here. Okay. And it's just about claiming and literally writing the story of your life, because we are writing the story of our lives, whether we're conscious of it or not. So why not be conscious of it? So what you want to do after you get done with writing your little entry, it doesn't need to take almost any time at all. I'm talking literally 3 to 5 minutes. Write this out. You're gonna pick it up and you're gonna close your eyes and call up as many positive emotions as you can. So take yourself back. You can imagine yourself living that life on that day, like we did yesterday in the meditation. Let those emotions come all over your body. And then you're going to actually read out what you've just written. You're actually reading it out while you're in that uplifted state. So you can probably see what I'm doing here, which is surround yourself with all these things that inspire you, that align you with who your truth is, what your purpose is, what you want to be and do in the world. Then read things that help to align you with that reality. Then write out what that reality is going to look like for you, and then call up all those emotions and read that reality. You can see why this has to be such a personalized process, because for everybody, we all have different goals. We all have different touchstones. And so that's important for you to create. So this should be a pretty easy practice. We'll add later a nighttime practice. For now, we're just going to start with this simple morning practice. So as you develop this out, I would love to hear in the group, or if you guys have any ideas now, or you want help developing that, post in the chat, and I will be very happy to do that. So that is the start. That is the ritual. And I think, honestly, if you give yourself even 5 days of doing this consistently, you will be shocked at the difference that happens. Oh, I will say the final piece of this, when you get done with your morning ritual, is to absolutely commit that throughout the day, you are going to pay attention to things that synchronicities, coincidences, people that show up in your life, opportunities that show up, and you're going to, that if they're aligned with what you've just been saying that you want, you're going to take definitive action on it. Okay. So you're going to want to bring your awareness all day long. It can be helpful to have a little notebook or even jot it down on your phone. Like, oh, like this happened. I noticed this. You can always ask for clarification. If it doesn't, you're like, I'm not sure. Was that meant for me? Am I supposed to follow that path? Because sometimes it can come out of the blue and it can seem like, what the heck? So the final piece is then once you get done with this and you say, this is done, I know this is done, I have written it out, I know this is happening, then throughout the day, you are looking for signs that are pointing you in the direction you want to go. And they can show up as coincidences, synchronicities, people that come into your path, things you read online, billboards you accidentally see, number sequences on driver's license or driving, license plates. It can be a lot of different things. So that's what I'd like you to commit to for this weekend. I also have a bonus training for you for the weekend. It should be super fun. And it's one of my favorite things actually to teach along with this. It's something I call the art of dream catching, creating a vision board that actually works. So what that is I don't know if you've ever noticed, but lots of people, they create vision boards and then they get stuck in the back of the closet and then you find them 5 years later and you feel really disappointed with yourself. And that, that sucks. That's terrible. That's not, and of course, how can you bring something just by putting it down on a vision board? It doesn't really work. So I sat down and looked at this through the lens of really the work that I do, the flow method, and how could I create a vision board that actually helped to enhance that manifestation process instead of just gathering dust. So that is the bonus training I have for you over the weekend. It'll be available from now on. So if you can't do it over the weekend, no big deal. But if you want to do it over the weekend, it is in the portal. In fact, it should be up and in the portal right now. And I'm also going to post that training in the group, so you can do it straight from the group page as well if you'd like to. And so it's a lot of fun. You're going to actually, instead of just creating, a lot of times what happens with vision boards is they're very lopsided. So people, again, with what we connected with yesterday, a lot of times people will not really know their true self or what they really, really want in this world, or they get very one focus, like I need my finances to be here, right? But they forget that for a truly dream life, a truly fulfilled life, it has to be balanced. You want to bring in good in all areas of your mind, your body, and your life. And so the dream catcher process I teach will help you to connect with what does that look like in each of the 7 stations of your mind, body, and life. Those 7 areas of your mind, body, and life we'll be working with and shifting. And then being able to create this really beautiful vision board and then have a practice that aligns with it. And the reason I'm giving you this bonus this weekend is not only because it's a lot of fun, but it's also something you could have in your morning practice if you wanted to. And actually, I teach inside that Dreamcatcher training how to do that. So I hope this was a great training for you today. I would love to hear from anybody. If you have anything that you would like to ask about the creating your morning ritual, anything like that, let me know. You're welcome to drop it in the group. Again, we have some people that have been very active in the group, and I really appreciate it. And active here, this counts. Coming live and being active here also counts. So for the most active people, thanks, Liz. For the most active people, every week I'm going to be picking and giving away some really good prizes. So, just a little extra incentive to keep on going and keep going because, everybody loves a little treat. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope this was hugely helpful. And again, this will be available in the portal in about an hour. It'll be available in the group immediately because it should have been live streaming right now. In fact, and I will go in and check any messages in the live stream in just a second. Thanks so much for being here today. Oh, and the Dreamcatcher training, again, will be in the portal and will be in the group. So you can access it 2 different ways. Either one is obviously fine. Okay. Have a wonderful, thanks, Joan. Glad you're here. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's just quickly send out positive and beautiful energy to everybody in the group, everybody from around the world. We have people from all over the place in the group that are part of this right now. And so we'll just send it out. And through all of that, let's all raise our frequencies together. Again, the more that you raise your frequency and actually get the life that you desire, the better this world is. Really, truly. If we're all connected, the more that we raise our frequencies and actually feel like we are living the life of our dreams, that frequency lifts everybody else too. So thank you so much. Have a beautiful weekend. Let me know if you have any questions. Actually, next week I will be broadcasting. Well, Monday I'll broadcast from my office. Tuesday, I will be broadcasting from Paris, France. We are going over there for a family trip. We've been focused on doing that for a little bit. So hopefully that'll be kind of fun to actually broadcast daily from there as well. So see you guys soon. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful day and stay connected in the group.